Hello, everyone. I want to thank you guys for listening in and getting tuned into my show. I know for a very long time I've been talking about getting back to work and getting back to my show, and I've been putting it off, but I think now is a good time to get to it. And definitely in the wake of Nipsey's passing, we definitely, is why I'm getting on this. It was really sad to hear about that yesterday. Um, Nipsey, man, it's few and far in between when you find someone who genuinely loves who they are inside and out and love where they come from and understand it and try to get those around him or around them to understand the way they see things and to pass that love through the community and to show everyone kind of, be an example. And that and the desire to feed us knowledge or to feed those who don't know and to don't understand, to have us all kind of come out of this illusion that we live in and come out of the rabbit hole, more so, or even to go deeper in it, if I may, and be aware of what's really going on to better ourselves. And that being said, it's a lot to talk about death and secret societies, Illuminati's, and things of that nature. And we all know, I don't care what anyone says, something's going on. You're not oblivious to the world and what's really going on. Now, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not, that's kind of on you. And how you go with it throughout the day is also something you personally need to deal with, or we have to deal with it ourselves. But we know that that's going on. And suffice it to say, me being a follower of Christ, a child of God, a child of Israel, of the bloodline of Israel, um, I understand that Satan is, in control of this world. People, a lot of people don't believe in that, but that's something I do believe. And I'll tell you why. If you look at how manipulative every single organization is, from the CIA to the FBI to the Illuminati to the Masons to the Hellfire Club, Stonehenges to the mob to gangs in the streets, every little organization, witchcraft, cults, every little thing that has a place in this world that causes one thing or an effect to do another, all comes from one source as a whole. And no human on this earth could possibly control and dictate and pull that many strings at one time and not mess up. It has to be supernatural. It has to be esoteric. It just has to be. So that's number one. Okay, not every death is because of that. Not everything is because of that. There are things that's in between those things that happen as a result of certain things, but for the most part, that's what's going on. Well, anyway, that leads me into getting into what we're talking about, which is how our heroes are normally chosen for us. I know it doesn't seem like that, and I know it seems like the people that we choose to idolize or that we hold their pictures up and that we have historical memories about. It's kind of hard to fathom that a lot of them were put there to pursue the purpose with which they did, and they're very successful in doing it. Now, not every person understood what they were doing and when they were doing it. Not everybody knew. Some did, some don't. But you have to think about it. At any point in life, whether it's in slavery or whether it's happening now, if someone comes to you and privately and tells you, "Hey, man, I have the in on, getting in. I got friends. We can get you in high places, hook you up, get your book published, any of those things," and you aren't really aware of how things like that go down, you're gonna join the organization. Camaraderie, brotherhood, a helping hand. Help me get to the top. We all would like that, and anybody who says they don't is a lie. Not that you're not a hard worker, but to open the extra doors would just be easy. Heck, if I could walk through instead of having to run through, I take it. You know, so you have to understand that things happen in life, and people end up in places that they thought they wouldn't be. But as they are there, they end up fulfilling a purpose or doing something, whether they be in full knowledge of it or completely oblivious of it. Let's start. So let's start with let's start with Civil War, Abraham Lincoln. You have Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman, and then you have Sojourner Truth and all that. And that's just a whole sloppy thing when you think about it, how the Civil War took place and how some of the states already in the North were beginning to consider abolishment before the war even started, and this Underground Railroad thing. And it's rumored that, Frederick Douglass, Tubman, and Truth had ties to the Freemasonry, Eastern Stars, and that Tubman on the Underground Railroad, you would see the symbols in the window or Some of the markings on the carvings of the door would be maybe 3 candles, or be a Masonic marking that only they knew or understood, and that those were the ones, the Quakers in quotation marks, and they helped to get the people free. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy. Now, whether Harriet Tubman knew what this was about, or if she was, if that wasn't, if it's true or not, I'm not going to go into right now. I will say, though, I am reading a book, and let me find that book. And the book is titled. Here it is. Flip it over. Yeah. So the book is Masonic Abolitionists, Freemasonry, and the Underground Railroad in Illinois. And I haven't gotten completely through the book yet. I want to read it, in its completion, and then we'll talk about it. But it definitely hints at how Freemasonry assisted in the abolition of slavery, or the abolishment of slavery, if someone say it that way. So don't think for 1 minute that you weren't brought to this point to where we are for a reason. It's lots of reasons why they had to free us from slavery. It has nothing to just do with the Industrial Revolution, although that is a part of it. Like I said, everything, there are bits and pieces to the puzzle. And though when you hear things in history and it sounds like this was the reason, or no, that was the reason, it's true. That probably was the reason. And it's true. That also was the reason. But there's more of a bigger, sinister reason behind abolishing slavery. Because I don't care if you're from the North, if you're from the South. Nobody wants to give up their slaves, period, point blank. I don't care who you are. You might say, you know what, hey, look, I'm not sure about giving up this whole slave thing. How about we just, better their conditions? Pay them a little bit, maybe give them their own house, food and water, and them, come to work every day. Well, that's not technically free them. Who would do that? Who would free a slave? I wouldn't. I wouldn't be beating on them either. I would put some laws against that, but I wouldn't let them go. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to, at least from the start. So that being said, that's always been kind of fishy to me, but I digress. Let's move on. So we get to this point where you have Frederick Douglass, who's pushing to join the war, work with these white men and all this carrying on, and it's like this first time that we're integrating with them and working with them. Though the conditions aren't great, and though they're not actually treating us like fair, it's still a work in progress. So slavery's free, and then we get the whole Jim Crow separate but equal. Okay, now this is where things start to get funny and fishy. Not so because of what's going on per se, but because it's more of what we kind of lived through. Okay, so this Jim Crow era, and you have this young man named Dr. King, or even Martin King at the time, and he's dubbed a genius by 14, and he's not one of these geniuses that you see today. And I'm not knocking anybody today. He had no computers. He didn't have any of that crap to help excel his mind. When he wanted to know some information, he read it from cover to cover. He understood it. He processed it. He moved on. He was like that. His sister was like that. His mother was like that. His father was like that. Okay. His mother and father also were murdered as well, which is ironic, but I digress on that. And so my point is going to say is when you have somebody who's that intelligent, they kind of look at the world different, and they're not stupid. They see things clearly, very clairvoyant. Now, how they make their moves is up to them, But let's just picture this: a young Martin King, and you have the separate but equal thing going on, and you don't really have equal, but you have separate, right? And you're in college, and let's say you're talking to these brainiacs, and somebody pulls your coattail to an organization, and you get involved, or whatever. And in the organization, you're talking about your people and all these things, and someone says, hey, I have a couple of friends in this position in Congress or in that position, and maybe we can do something about stopping this horrific thing that's happening between you and your people. Okay, sure, he falls for the bait. If that's the way it went down, he falls for the bait. Now, instead of getting equal, it's now become an integration thing. Now, why in the world, out of all things, would you want to integrate with someone who is treating you like crap? Okay, that makes no sense. If I'm fighting for something, I'm fighting for equal. I want the money to make my schools look better. I want the contracts that you have. I don't want to go to school with you. I don't care less what you do with your schools. Give me the money. But no, you spend all of your time focusing on integrating with someone. I mean, we literally had to endure being looked at, spat on, teased, beat on in school just to go to white schools. Why would you want to go to white schools? That makes no sense, King. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Whatsoever. Why don't I want to go to a white restaurant? We always talking about their food is bland in the first place. That makes no sense whatsoever. Give me the money for my own restaurant. You know, he was alive when they bombed Black Wall Street. He's not stupid. King knows what's up. You know, and I'm not knocking him, or I'm not saying that he was part of some coup or part of some he willingly was a part of some conspiracy plan. But what I am saying is that he was used, he was a tool. Don't get it twisted. King was a tool, whether he knows it or not. Look at it this way. Look at Malcolm X. Malcolm X didn't get a podium like King got. He didn't get to go down to Washington. He didn't get to make these big grand speeches in front of all these people. But the brother was just as influential and powerful. You have to ask yourself, why does King get the podium? Why does King get to have the crowd? Because X was preaching, no. We need to learn ourselves first. We need to learn one another. Get back to camaraderie and trust within ourselves. We need to teach us to pick up a book and read and be learned. We're not trying to, he's like, we don't need to be integrating with nobody else. Y'all done let us astray, I don't know how long. You lied to us. You brought us in ships. I mean, it's just in the sense of where segregation was at that time. You have to understand why he's a smart man too. You know, he's learned it as well. He spent a lot of time reading, so he's no fool. You know, so you have to ask yourself these things, and then but let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, now they're saying, oh, Dr. King was a man. He slept around and he this and he that. Okay, well, it can happen. People can still have a desire to lead their people out of a captivity or into something better, if that's their idea of better, and still be immoral sexually, or commit some sort of oh Jesus, I've lost the word. Pretty much cheating on his wife. You know what I mean? When you're pretty much walking around, sleeping around and committing adultery. Thank you. And so, it happens. And when you're constantly with people and they're throwing women in your faces and having parties and all kind of carrying on, it's easy to get caught up in that. And I'm not saying that the man did or didn't do it, but there's a lot of evidence showing that he did do a little partying on the outside and he was a little unfaithful. Okay, so what? But King also looks like the type of person that was hanging with the wrong crowd and then realized it too late. Realized it too late. Now, here's where things start getting real, like funny style. All right, I hope y'all listening. Now, y'all know Jesse Jackson got popular off of running with King, okay? And Bernie Sanders, but I'm not talking about Bernie right now. Jesse got popular by running with King, all right? Now, y'all need to go look up Steve Coakley. If you don't know who that is, the brother just passed about 5 or 6 years ago, and I love this man. I love his work. I love listening to him, reading his stuff. I love the way he talked. He was the first one that I found out when I started paying attention to him that exposed Jesse Jackson. He was the one that came out and talked about how Jesse and Ralph Abernathy, they were in on the assassination. Okay? So here's the thing. Martin apparently was starting to either get suspicious and figure out that Jesse and a few other people weren't all who they said they would be, or all on his side. So once Martin started figuring that out, Jesse's pushing like, okay, he's finding out. Now you gotta go find Steve Coakley on YouTube or on anywhere you can find him, and you can find this information, okay? So they said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this thing where anybody's wearing a tie is pretty much King's friend. They're gonna shoot. They know that they're with King. Anybody not wearing a tie is not with King. And they said that night, Jesse was just insistent on not putting on a tie. And Martin was like, we need to be in solidarity. What's up? But he already wasn't trusting Jesse anyway. So they set Martin up, and you got to watch the tapes. They set Martin up. They shoot. They do the phony point. Memphis. Not Memphis. I'm sorry. Wherever he was shot was went crazy. Okay, went crazy. People went crazy, and. It's bothering me where this man got shot at. Hold on, I know any other time I can call it. I want to say Alabama. I'm not sure. Let's look at it and see. It was Montgomery, Alabama. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Oh, I didn't have a chance. I didn't need to look that up, but it was Montgomery, Alabama. Anyway, Montgomery, Alabama went crazy, and the people wanted to riot. So what they did was Now, they blocked off the airports and the roadways. Couldn't nobody get in. Couldn't nobody get out. Okay. Now, somehow, some way, Jesse Jackson ended up on the morning show or something like that early in the morning talking about the assassination and claiming to be the heir apparent to, Martin Luther King's march and things of that nature. And so what Steve was saying was, how in the heck is Jesse getting out of the state and they're not letting nobody out? You ain't nobody. You're not the heir apparent. So how are you ended up the next morning on the news talking about what's going to happen with the people and where all this going to carry on? Okay. Now, what they also did was they took James Brown and they put James Brown's concert live on TV on purpose to stop the people from rioting, to calm them down. See how they use? See, you're a tool. James was a tool. Go look it up. Love his music. I don't take away from that, but he was a tool. Um, and so he played his little part. Everybody plays their part, you know. Then Jesse Jackson all of a sudden gets Rainbow Coalition. Go watch Steve Coakley. Go read his stuff. And he gets his funding all of a sudden for that. And he's, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He's getting all his prestige and he's put in his positions. King is dead. Now Jesse's up there. We just love Jesse. Oh, here comes Jesse. Here comes Jesse. And then there's the time in the 90s where Clinton sent Jesse Jackson overseas to get them hostages. And then they gave Jesse Jackson the hostages. And he came back and he was heralded as a hero. And it's like, I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? That man has that much sway and power and pull that you can get a whole country to give up some hostages, but you can't get them to give us nothing in the hood? You and Sharpton ain't accomplished nothing? That's bull. That's bull. And you know how I know it's bull? Because you did the same crap with Kim Kardashian. You sent her to the White House with Trump. Trump sent Kim over there. Now y'all gotta look how stupid. Come on. A diplomat, Kim? No. She's a smart girl as far as understanding how to pick people and read people and things of that nature. She can get those kind of simpletons, but I don't think she's good enough to get, to be diplomatic and talk people into giving them hostages. You gotta understand the game. You're not peeping the game. Because you don't want to peep the game. But I'm gonna hip you to it, and I'm gonna tell you what it is, and how you take it is how you take it. So like I said, Jesse's now running around. He's the man. Martin's dead. Okay, everybody played their part. Martin played his part integrating us into the system, which was stupid. That makes no sense whatsoever. Not that we shouldn't be integrated or we shouldn't hang with other races, but when you look at it, that makes no sense to want to go and be around people that's gonna beat on you for sitting at their counter. Look, dude, why should I take this ass whooping? How about I just meet with you privately and we go back and forth about some funding? And you just help me build up my community. I shouldn't have to go to jail. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to be on, on your buses if that be the case. And, oh, I'm so tired, I'm not getting up. You a lie, Rosa Parks. You are a lie. Not that I'm not saying that y'all, I'm trying to tell you, they will hang us from a tree in a heartbeat. You have to understand that. They'll shoot us, kill us, murder us, rape us, and hide the body, and the police will cover it up in a millisecond. Okay? Okay? The news gets there when they want to. The news reports when it wants to. Trump shouldn't have had to tell nobody about no fake news. Black people, we've been dealing with fake news all of our lives. We saw them come in the hood, film something, edit it to make it look bad, and then put it on TV. We've seen it with our own eyes. Okay? So, like I said, don't tell me, that things happen the way they happen just on happenstance. They did not. They did not. And not just that. You want to ask me something else? Ask me how come King went to jail and didn't get his ass whooped. Ask me how come he went to jail and didn't wind up dead. Do you mean tell me they'll kill now in 2019, but they won't kill back in 1960? Are you kidding me? And there's less forensic evidence back. There was no forensic evidence back then. Okay? There was no. Let me tell you something about people like King. Nigga. They will silence you, nigga. You know what I mean? Shut your mouth, nigga. You ain't nobody. Unless you get the permission to speak. You see Medgar Evers is dead. And you see he don't get talked about. I digress. Let's move on. All right? Now I want to talk really quickly. I'm going to touch Richard Pryor and I'm going to touch George Jefferson. I love them both. Love their stuff. But they're tools. Richard said nigga until he got paid. Yes, he was funny, but he hollered nigga so damn much. that it became the norm within our neighborhoods. Like, just totally. Totally. Went to Africa and realized the lie he was told and came back and was like, I ain't saying that no more. But people who hadn't been to Africa who hadn't gotten paid yet, well, you can stop saying nigga, but I'm not. Well, I get that because he just used it to get paid. So who is he to tell you not to be using the word he just used to get paid? However, he was ignorant when he did it. But from a point of view of somebody who ain't got no money, I don't care. I'm gonna do what it takes to get that money. Maybe I'll stop saying it afterwards. Maybe. You know what I mean? Probably not. George Jefferson, funny, loved the show, but he was known for hollering the nigga on the show as well. And as kids who watch TV, like, dang, they let him say that, and it's like it's not funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. You know what I mean? Everything is not for everybody. Family business. So let's move on. Though. I want y'all to see how y'all don't realize how stuff be being put out there for you to adjust to bring you to where we are today. You don't realize that we are all the way we are today. We're in complete disarray as a people because our heroes are leading us astray. Now, like I said, some are actually in on it, some are ignorant. That's for you to decide which ones know which. Let's move on. Music. Okay? I'm gonna touch on this rap thing. Rap, when it first came out, was so uplifting. Goodness gracious. I mean, Queen Latifah, all hail the queen, princess of the posse. You had Run DMC. They didn't really do any really good. I'm sorry, they wasn't really preaching that, that uplifting the black stuff. But they were black. They're still out too. But I won't get on them. But you had KRS-One. Brother was preaching that. You had Public Enemy until those two fools sold out and left Professor Griff alone. You know what I mean? You had so many people, Kwame, and just so many people out there. When we did rap, it was about me showing you my talents, my skills, how fast I could think, how I could rhyme, how I could take these words and put them in a sentence like this and just be bomb as a whole. And it was about also spreading knowledge and uplifting the people. But they couldn't have that. They couldn't have that. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. They couldn't have that. We don't need y'all reading books and being knowledgeable and sticking together. So what did they do? Well, I'll tell you what they did. They created NWO. Yep, sure did. Right there for us in our faces to take us and to bring us to where we are. Who in your right mind, what black male do you know in your right mind, hard like that, comes up with a name like nigga with attitude, niggas with attitude? That's not so damn gay. And I'm not even saying that in a bad way or anywhere. I mean, but what man, really? I'm a nigga and I got an attitude. I'm upset with the police and I have an attitude about it. It just don't sound, right. You know what I mean? So I don't, first of all, you should know that was a clue. Ain't no, they sound better being boys from the hood than being NWA, niggas with attitudes. That sounds off. You know what I mean? And then what they do? They was the first ones to be F the police. Okay, y'all teach us to be, kind of yes and kind of no. Because the Black Panthers are the opposite. They wasn't hollering F the police. The Black Panthers was saying, let's stick together, let's feed one another, let's be knowledgeable. And by the way, they were infiltrated too. And I'm going to get on that in another personal, I'm going to just do a Black Panther thing on its own. But you got to understand, the CIA infiltrated us. They always find people that look like us to infiltrate us. It's the house nigga syndrome that all over again. Find some poor bastard who is so hungry and so depressed and got such bad self-esteem, Lil Wayne, that they will lead us into anything while they'll sell us right out while making themselves rich. They find those people. They're the ones they look for, the Kanyes and stuff. They be talented, don't get me wrong, but they find them people to sell us out. Anyway, so they come out, they yell F the police and all that kind of carrying on, and then Cube finds out what it's really about. He's like, okay, so y'all getting pumped in the booty. He's talking about no Vaseline. No, we wasn't sure. Excuse me, we wasn't sure whether Cube was just being funny when he was saying that, or if he was serious when he was saying it in no Vaseline. Years later, we realized he was serious. Talking about Easy getting pumped and Dre getting done by Heller and Ren and how Dre effing Ren and and you stupid if you don't believe that. Because first of all, that's how things go. Even M said it in his radio. He said Dre been effing me in one of his songs. I know Weezy effing baby. I'm like, it's not. Come on, bro. Whoever brings you in is the one that's gonna screw you. That's how that go. But that's another story. Anyway, so they got done, and then they came in, did their job. They got rich. They all became hard gangsters, and every last one of them taught us to say fuck the police. The NWA went over to West Death Row. Death Row gave us Snoop, LBC, and all them, and it was bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. She ain't good for nothing but squirting in her mouth and jizzing on her and tapping that fat ass. That's what they gave us. Now, mind you, these are the people that we idolize. These are heroes. We want to put them in the Guinness Book of World Records and we want to give them stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But they're the very reason why black women don't want to deal with us now. Because instead of uplifting them and all the other stuff, we was like, you ain't shit but a hoe and a bitch and all that kind of carrying on. And then we shook money in their faces and said, here, we know half of y'all ain't grew up with no money. Half of y'all ain't got no ain't grew up in have much of anything. So you're gonna do anything to make it, to have a little something to get out of the situation you're in. I get that. So now you have these video women dancing and doing whatever it takes. I'm gonna be a dancer. I'll be in this video. I'm getting ready to travel overseas with this group, and I'm gonna dance. I'll make this money, and it's such an exciting life. I get that. I totally get that. I can see how you would lose yourself and lose your morals and doing that kind of thing. People waving money around. You're hungry. We come from a neighborhood they never really had nothing. It's not our fault, mind you, because they destroyed everything we had, and they keep shipping us in the wrong direction. We don't know which way is up because we don't know who to believe, So we have NWA and everybody from the West Coast just destroying rap, destroying our culture, everything. And then you have, speaking of boys in the hood, you have people like John Singleton. And I'm not saying he's any of those things either, but people I named, just check their backgrounds, okay? Y'all check their backgrounds. Y'all, John Singleton was an intelligent man too. He went to USC. He's not stupid. He did Boys in the Hood, his very first breakout movie. And one of the most important scenes in it that everybody points out now is the gentrification scene, where Furious is talking about gentrification and all that stuff. And that wasn't just put in there on accident. They were flat out telling you, we're about to take back LA. He told you how it works, what they're going to do, and all that stuff. And we just thought it was a movie. But here's the premise of the movie. Here's something funny about it. Boys in the Hood didn't teach us anything. The only thing it taught us was to get up and leave. Get out of the hood, which is one of two things. Well, actually, which is both two things. A, leave so they can buy it up. And B, go and integrate some more. Get out of this neighborhood. Get away from people like you. Get away from people who act like that. Now, mind you, we don't act like that as a people. Okay, if you look at history, that was a very small blur within our history. That's not how we act. But when you're living in it, you don't understand that. You kind of move with what's going on, Then we have, and I don't have to go on about music and all that kind of carrying on. You guys get what I'm saying with that, with NWA and the rest of how then the South came out in the year 2000 in the South. Then there was on the whole drug thing and the lean, and like that taught us that it's just, y'all get what I'm saying, And it's like, ain't nobody stopping them. Ain't nobody not promoting them. Ain't nobody. And when you try to tell somebody about it, they think you're just trying to, mess with their good time, or you don't know. Everybody that put money into your hood ain't your friend, man. Everybody that put money in your face that's black and tell you to do something ain't your friend. That's for real. It's because they're being told to do it. They got to do it. You ever know some celebrities do one thing and they turn around and do another? And it's like, I have to do certain things, but at the same time, I didn't really want to say that. How's Viola Davis married to a black man talking about white men is so sexy and attractive? I just love me a white man. There's no way in the world my wife, who's married to me, can go get in the camera and say that about anybody, black, white, green, purple, or yellow. She said what she had to say because she had to plant her seed and she moved on. But because we only see her as certain things, we took that as what she really meant. But let's go on. I want to talk about even Baby Boy. Let's go year 2000, 2001, Baby Boy comes out. And through the whole premise of Baby Boy, he just can't get it. In the end, he supposedly understood. Not. Baby Boy understood a darn thing. At the end of the movie, what did he do? He ended up moving in with Yvette. Same thing Melvin did. Ended up moving in with his woman. And coincidentally, it was his woman's mama's house. It's like the men in that family never did anything, apparently. But, and then Jody didn't have a real job. He was hustling dresses. And don't get me wrong, I ain't not going to hustle. Make it how you can. But they didn't conclude that he did anything else. He just, okay, I'm going to put a ring on her finger. And I'm gonna move in with her while she works the real corporate job, mind you. She got the tax return, and it's gonna be her that's gonna be able to be put on. When we buy a house, it's gonna be her stuff, and all that kind of thing because he ain't really working. That didn't help not one bit. It did not help one bit. It just furthered the whole men being lazy thing. You know, um, where am I at with this? I'm almost done. Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier, he's huge. Oh, Sidney Poitier. Oh, Sidney Poitier. And then you go look at what was Sidney Poitier known for? Oh, he wouldn't take this role, and he would only take these roles, and he was such a prominent actor, and he wouldn't because he didn't want black people to be looking like this and to be looking like that. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, Sidney Poitier. And then I go look him up, and I look on his own, and I'm like, okay, I see how you get down, Mr. Portier. But don't get me wrong, there ain't nothing with your choice of woman. You just love's where you find it, Mr. Portier. But you can't rise to success off of your people and the pride of your color and your skin and who you are as a nation, and yet dog us when it comes to reproducing your nation. Don't nobody understand you better than your woman. Now, don't nobody really understand you better than the woman of your ethnicity. Because regardless of what anybody teach, you're your color first. I don't care what nobody says in this world, unless it's 100 years from now and they've completely gotten rid of all this colorless BS that they're trying to get rid of. They will see your color first. Then they will see your gender. Because your color determines on how you may or may act. Your gender determines on what you can or can't do. In mind frame. At a gas station, you see somebody black, male or female. Female, okay, I'm not as intimidated. Male, oh shit. So when I look at Mr. Portier, I just be thinking, where'd you get that from, bro? You mean to tell me, same thing with Morgan Freeman. We love us some Morgan Freeman. What the heck, Morgan, for real? They asked him, well, Morgan Freeman, how do we get rid of racism? He goes, stop talking about it. Are you kidding me, sir? That's the same situation that got us in here now. That's like when white folks is now. They didn't realize it existed because we didn't talk about it. You know what I mean? That's folly, I love Serena Williams as far as who she is and the legacy she's going to leave. But Serena, you couldn't possibly tell me. You've walked into that arena many of times, and I followed your career all my life. I mean, as far as you've been playing tennis, because my mother loves her. And I have heard them call you nigga so many times in that stadium. I know it's happened so many times behind closed doors. I don't know if it was Pete Sampras or who it was that refused to dance with Venus at the Wimbledon when she won Wimbledon that year because she was black. You hear him telling me, y'all, you can't tell me you go through so much stuff and then you mean to say the love of your life is a white man? Out of everybody in this world, he understands you? Bullshit. Go check the records, y'all. Love her or not, talented or not, she'll sell you out. And that's what she did. I don't care what nobody says. It's a sellout. You know what I mean? Y'all don't realize they're trying to kill your seed off. You don't get it. Y'all don't get it. You don't get how special we are as a people. You don't get it because you think everything somebody tells you to do, it's okay with it. And it's like, no, it's not. They don't spend millions of dollars promoting interracial marriages for nothing, and they don't do it with nobody but black people. They don't spend millions of dollars having the police department create gangs in our neighborhoods, blaming on one another, killing us, and covering it up. They don't spend millions of dollars putting us behind jail so we can A, not be able to breed with our women, but B, possibly be turned out. They don't spend millions and billions of dollars of forcing the black man out of the house by telling you can't receive welfare benefits that they put us in, mind you, because they won't hire us. Not because we're lazy, because we go down there looking for the jobs, but in their racism, they won't hire us. And they go on the news, fake news, and tell everybody that we're not showing up. I will never forget on the news how all them black people lined up for the hiring thing they had, like maybe 10 years ago during the recession. And they made sure they filmed on the other side of the building where nobody was, saying, oh, nobody showed up. You know what I mean? They do stuff like that. So they make sure that they show everybody that we don't want to work and we're not showing up for the jobs, but they're out here. BS. We're applying for them or we're not getting them, or we weren't getting them. Okay? It forces the black woman to have to get on this stuff, and you're ruling the black man out. So my whole thing is the people that they put in our faces and the things that they show us is all a means of destroying ourselves within. You got to pay attention to your Pacs, your Nipseys. You got to pay attention to your Moniques and people like that. Now, Monique ain't always right when she's yelling, but the woman says a lot of stuff, and she's telling you who's real and who ain't. And you could take her for phony if you don't. I know y'all love Oprah because she represents something that none of us saw. She was sophisticated, she was black, and she was successful. I get it. But she's just a show. She is the leader. She's going to lead you in the direction she wants you to go in a slow, finessed way. Tyler Perry will do it, and the rest of them. You know what I mean? Go look. If you think I'm lying, man, go look up the stuff on these people. Go watch it. Y'all holler energy all day. I swear, you can pick that energy up through the TV. You can pick that energy up through anything. Believe you me, if you know what I'm talking about, you know I'm telling the truth. You know, Patrice O'Neal, man, dead. Go look that brother up. He talks about Spike Lee, a whole bunch of other people, how they get down in the industry, and how when they give you a job and you start working as an actor or actress, you automatically owe them. Hey man, didn't I put you in this movie? Didn't I hook you up? Didn't I this? Patrice O'Neal said all that. Go look him up. I'm not gonna go into that. They don't get me. You know, but it's a lot more to say, and I could go into just the depths of that. And I wrote a lot of stuff down here, man. But I really want you guys to understand as far as our neighborhood goes, and yeah. Let me talk on this really quickly. I even talked about how rap got to a point where Biggie justified selling drugs to our people to feed his daughter. Biggie, man, we not doing it to ourselves. They're doing this to us, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop making excuses to go do stuff. All of our families are hungry, or they were. But you see, the thing about it is y'all don't realize the reason that we're moving ahead now is because the whole integration thing. That's the whole point of integrating us, so they can get to this point right now where they are. We were under a 400-year curse. Y'all know that. Y'all know that we're the children of Israel. That ain't no secret. That's been out for the longest now. It's been proven over and over again. If you don't believe it, go read the Apocrypha. It's right there. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach on that as well. But they know that, and they know that once our 400 years are up, once the curse is over, you don't have any control of us no more. So the best thing to do is to blend in with us. They spent 400 years literally to get to the point where they could marry in with us and get us angry and hating at us. That's what these 400 years was about. They destroyed our community so we could never thrive with one another. They made black women hate us and start looking at them different. Chris Rock gave away the secret. He was on talking about something. I'm gonna tell you why black women won't mess with white men. They just don't find y'all attractive. Beckham can get some stuff. What else he say? He said Beckham, and he said Brad Pitt could get some. He said, but the everyday white man, no. So then white boys said, doing what? Okay, let's start getting fades. Then they bought BET. Okay, let's start sliding white boys into BET. Let's start putting them, in their television shows, like their college shows. But before that, let's start doing it on these dating shows, like I Love New York. Let's do that. Let's make the possibility of stepping outside of what you're normally into. Black people know we ain't supposed to be messing with nobody else. Y'all know that as a whole, the way the Lord, the Most High, we should not be blending our seed with nobody else. It's in there. You know this. But this is not one of them discussions about who's better, who are this, or who's that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you got to start watching the people that they put in your face and listen to what they're saying. Nipsey was a real one. God rest his soul. The real ones ain't going to get to talk too much. Pac had to go. Y'all got to understand that. He was 25. He was young. He was wild. He was rambunctious. He was angry. We've all been there. If you're over 30, you know what I'm talking about. If you're over 30, you already know you can't. If Pac is so powerful, you can't wait for him to get to 30. You can't wait for him to get 35. Because once he starts thinking straight, and he starts realizing running his mouth in that way is not going to help. He'll change his tactics. But he had the heart of the people. Same thing with Nipsey. You may not be Pac, but you got the heart of the people. And LA is a very strong community. LA is so powerful. You have to understand that LA sets the trends. I don't care what nobody tells you what. They pick up all them Hollywood trends right there in LA, and they put them on TV. Okay, so if we start acting a certain way in LA, the whole world will change. I know that sounds weird, but it's not. It's not. Certain states command how the country acts. And the tones that's set for the next whatever time period. So Nipsey couldn't be allowed to live. And it was some hater shit. It was some I got paid shit. It was some Uncle Tom. I'm sorry, not Uncle Tom. I'm sorry. It was some Uncle Tom was a good one. Sorry. it was Sambo type, you know, some carrying on. And I really just want to encourage you guys to read more books, dig deeper into characters and people before you start loving on them so much. I don't want to go into just politics and things like that, but you have to understand, you know, people get thrown in our face because they're deceitful. And because we want a voice so bad, we want somebody to speak and sounds like us, we don't realize the wolf in sheep's clothing, you know, and that's a shame. But I'm gonna end this now because it would just go on forever, and there's much to say. Till next week, you guys. God bless. I love you. Stay up and stay safe.